Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this episode we review the Nintendo Super NES Classic Edition. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions, and we are here today with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic. This is a mini version of just my favorite console of all time. This is the original Super NES. This is the Super NES Classic Edition. Now, unlike this system here, this actually does not use any cartridges. It has 21 games built right into the system itself, just like the system that's playing behind me here. This is the NES Classic Edition. Now, the differences between this system and that, besides the catalog of games, first of all, should be availability. It should be a heck of a lot easier to get your hands on these than these ever were. Reggie Fils-Aimé, president of Nintendo of America, has already come out and said that they do not have a production issue with these. Yes, they are going to be in high demand, but be patient and you should be able to get your hands on one. If you haven't seen the ins and outs of how this goes together and what it all comes with, make sure that you check out our unboxing video up there that we did the morning that this actually came out. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up to our television here. We're going to go through the menu system, go through the setup. We're going to play a little bit of each of the games. We are going to come back at a later point in time and do an in-depth video on almost every game that this comes preloaded with. Here we are at the main menu when you first power it on, and the first thing I'm going to do is select language. I want English because I'm not up for a challenge. So I'll go down, hit OK. Here's the menu itself, and as you can hear, I'm going to actually turn up a little bit here so I can hear. The background music is different than what the Super NES Classic had. One of the things too, if you look in the lower right hand corner, it actually indicates one player, two player, which is a nice change in the menu. So let's go scroll through all the games that comes preloaded on the system. So you have Contra 3, The Alien Wars, Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, F-Zero, Final Fantasy III, Kirby Superstar, which is 8 games in one, Kirby's Dream Course, Mega Man X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox 2, we're going to get to Star Fox 2 in a second. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4, sorry, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Now, one of the cool things about this system is the fact it supports what's called save states. And that's where when you're playing the game, you can actually go and suspend where you're at to come back later to continue it if the game didn't support that out of the box. The other thing you can do is you can actually use that to go back and rewind. Like if you screw up in a game, you can change that and it has rewind points essentially. So let's go to the top of the menu. So let's go to display first. And as you can see, you can change and have a CRT filter for scan lines. I'm not a scanline fan myself. 4:3 aspect ratio or pixel perfect. I preferred pixel perfect on the pixel perfect, easy for me to say, on the NES Classic. So I'm going to do that again on this one. Now, one of the unique things on the SNES Classic versus the NES Classic, so most of us now, if not all of us, have 16:9 TVs. The aspect ratio of this originally was 4:3. So on the NES Classic, you just had black bars on either side of the screen. What Nintendo did with this is gave you the option where you can add these frames that you see here to the side to kind of lighten things up a little bit. I think that one there is funny because it looks like there's a hack out there where you can play ROMs on the 3DS, or on the DS and the 3DS called Wood, and that kind of looks like that there. So a couple different frames that you have here. Let's see, you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total frames to choose from, or you can just go with nothing. I kind of like this one because it makes me feel like I'm playing with power, super power. So I'm going to hit B to go back. Options. I can have a gameplay demo on, a classic demo, screen burn in. Go back there. Language, if you made a mistake, you can change it there. Legal notices, so on and so forth. Open source information. And manuals. If you have a cell phone that you have a QR reader on it, you can scan that and be able to get manuals for the different games. So let's dive in here. What should we play first? You know what? Let's do Star Fox, because if you notice, Star Fox 2, not playable out of the box. I hit this. I need to... What? No. Oh. I have to clear stage 1 in Star Fox to unlock Star Fox 2. So let's do that. Sound is really good. Graphics look really sharp. I'm going to skip that because I've seen that so many times. Oh, cool! The background changes color. I thought it was just going to be green the whole time. It's actually cool the way it's like changing from blue to purple to orange. And I don't like this control scheme. I think it's B I liked, where that's my blaster. That's the Nova Bomb. And don't forget to do a barrel roll. Alright, so I want Control B, and I'm going to go straight to the game. Star Fox is such a classic game, and what most people don't realize is that you can actually decide which way you're going to go, left, right, or straight. I'm going to go straight. That's normally the way that I attacked this game. I've actually never beaten Star Fox. And there's Corneria there. So cool when this came out. It was... the graphics look like garbage now, but for when this came out, having voices coming out of your game in a cartridge was like super cool. This was the first game to come out with the Super FX chip, which allowed the 3D polygon support. Great music in this game too. A little disappointed that it's so small on screen though. Already done my first barrel roll. And we're going to go through here. And Star Fox Classic Rail Shooter. What you'll want to do too, if you have a game mode on your television, you'll want to make sure that you have game mode enabled. That way you don't run into lag and latency issues that you may otherwise run into. I do have game mode turned on here, and that's actually why I'm shooting in this way, where I've got the camera looking at me and I'm just using the capture device to capture the game footage itself. The one thing I do wish that this had was a turbo functionality of some type, but the original didn't have it. Hori has the game or the fight pad that you can get. It's wireless too, that you can actually map turbo buttons and everything as well. All right, here comes the boss level. Should be here in a moment. Do a barrel roll. I always thought that was so neat how your the AI in here, incoming enemy fighter, it just always sounded just amazing. So, and we are filming this. This is the day that the unit actually came out. So this is the first game that I've played on the SNES Classic. Period. Is Star Fox. Oh. Don't want to use any bombs. So most of my shield is intact. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bombs. Didn't use any turbo except for right there just because I wanted to. And I think all of my teammates survived. All chips check in. So far so good. Okay, what's next? No sweat, Fox. So the Fox McCloud team has successfully cleared Mission 1. Got 100%, woohoo! I like that. Got a bonus Fox McCloud too. So now back in the home menu, you can see here we have Star Fox 2 is now unlockable, or unlocked, so you can play. So because many people have never seen Star Fox 2, we are going to play Star Fox 2. Now, one thing, just in the effort of full disclosure, that I did do is I plugged in my Mario fighting pad that was designed for the Wii, basically, because there's no home button on this controller. So I could reset the game, but I couldn't get back to this menu. At least I couldn't figure out a way as of yet. Now what I can do is I can go here and hit Y to save, and now I am in there. And now you can also see on the bottom of the screen you have lock, unlock, select, start, X, rewind, B, back. So the X rewind is where you can go back and redo things that you screw up. So we're going to actually play with this controller for a little bit now too. The analog stick works just fine going through the menus. So I've never played any of the ROMs for Star Fox 2, so I've never seen this before. Well, it looks a lot like the first Star Fox, so I can understand when they were getting close to... oh, you have stereo options too, or mono. Yep, we're going to do stereo. So this came out right towards the end of the life, or was supposed to come out towards the end of the life of the Super NES, but the N64 was already announced, and they didn't want to release, future gen software on last gen hardware, however you want to put it. So we'll dive into the mission. We'll do more normal for right now. Star Fox team, do you read me? I have terrible news. Our sworn enemy, the Fiend Andros, is alive. Even as we speak, he is launching an assault on Corneria. The battle carriers and attack forces of Andros are now advancing on Corneria. Enemy bases have been established on overrun planets. Planetary missiles will be fired from these enemy bases. Once again, we must ask you for your assistance, Star Fox. Corneria will survive if it sustains minor damage. But if damage reaches 100%, it is all over. Game over, man! Game over! Okay. So we're just going to hit start to get past that. Select pilot. Oh, I guess first I select who I'm going to be. So I'm going to take Fox. And Faye is my wing man. Sorry, that's Star Wars there. It's what it sounded like. Man, they really hit you over the head with the Star Fox branding, don't they? Okay. So where do I want to go? Let's see. Meteor. This is kind of weird. It's really kind of weird. That's... Got a fly buzzing around in here. It's buzzing me. Okay, that was easy. Oh, looks like we got a missile coming in, so we are going to try to blow that thing up. It's almost like a real-time strategy game where you have to keep an eye on what's going on the map and fight that stuff at the same time that you're doing everything else. Yeah, just to confirm, the analog stick does not do anything on here. There's the enemy right there. Got that guy. There's another target. Got him. All right, so there's Star Fox 2. It's different. I can kind of see now why they didn't release it, so let's go back home. Let's take a look at a game that will really test you as far as latency and such, and let's do Street Fighter II Turbo. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually go back to the Super NES controller for that. So pretty much any lag or latency would be kind of highlighted here. Going to go to 4 Turbo, options, let's see, option, and we're going to go to, I want my punch to be Y, and my kick to be B. And then, yep, the rest of it works. So let's see again if there's any issues here regarding any lag or latency. See if it was just me. Oh, Ryu versus Ryu. Wow, he is countering me. Oh, I died. Graphically, I think it looks great. It looks very accurate. I don't know if it's... I'm still not sure if I'm feeling lag or latency, or if it's just that I'm sucking, which, I mean, it could always be that I'm sucking. Wow, he kicked my rear end. So let's now go to the final game we're going to show you in this, and we'll go through all the other games at a later point in time. But let's go through Super Mario World because it is the best Mario game ever made, in my opinion. What was great about Super Mario World, at least to me, was the fact that the colors were vibrant, the controls were spot on, the music was great. It had a great level of difficulty that was challenging but didn't feel unfair. And as you can see, I'm a fan of Yoshi too. I mean, this looks great. It sounds great. The controls here feel good. I gotta think that my Super Street Fighter issues were the fact that I just have not played that game in years, and I just suck at it right now. Just such a fun game. I could sit down and try to get through a perfect score for the, all 90, was it 96, 93 stars, whatever. I mean, I could sit here all day and play Super Mario World. It is that amazing of a game. You know, poor Yoshi getting punched in the back of the head every time that Mario wants something. Oh, you suck! Got him. So that's interesting. The game just froze. Weird. Pause. You just saw that happen. That was weird. So let's do the reset. I mean, I know there's a lot of things going on there with me jumping around and stuff, and that shouldn't have happened. One disappointment I do have in the system right now, I will tell you, is I really wish that instead of just including Super Mario World, that they would have included Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. There's a couple other games on here that are, culminations and like collections. The Kirby game is the perfect example where there's different games within the game. Don't know if you ever knew this trick either. You can basically use Yoshi to jump higher. You don't need the block, so jump and then jump off of him, and it'll help you jump higher too. But yeah, I really would have liked it if they would have included Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. That way you would have gotten all of the original 3 Super Mario Brother game, the first real remix that Nintendo ever did. Yes. And then be able to access it that way. So, what do I think of the SNES Classic? I knew I was going to love it, and I absolutely do. Is it perfect? No. First and foremost, I'm not a big fan of the price. Yes, there's an extra controller in here, but first of all, the controller itself is a little limited as far as what it can do. There's no home button on it, which is really annoying. You either have to plug in like the controller that I have here, and we'll be doing a controller shootout for the SNES Classic soon too, and that has a home button on it. You have to go up to the unit itself and flip the reset button, which will take you back. It's really not very convenient. I would have liked to have seen them incorporate some kind of a home button, and I know that they were going for a perfect replica of the Super NES controller on here, and they've done a great job. This feels outstanding. But even just putting a little, rubber membrane, just a round circle right here that you just boop, and that takes you home. I wish they would have done that. Like I say, the controller does feel really, really good. The audio sounds great. The picture looks great. I've got to play more of Super Street Fighter to determine if it is latency that's built into the system or if it's just the fact that I haven't played it in a long time and I kind of suck. The list of games is good. It's not $80 good, I don't think, but part of that, I'm looking at the list of games that are on here that I will play. First of all, what I'm looking forward to playing is Contra, Donkey Kong, F-Zero, the 2 Kirby games, Star Fox 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Castlevania IV, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. For my personal taste, having Earthbound and Final Fantasy III, Secret of Mana, Super Mario RPG, I'm not an RPG fan, so those are games that I'll never play most likely. Like I mentioned, yeah, 2 controllers, but I don't know that this is $20 better than the NES Classic Edition was, especially when you look at you get 9 more games on the NES Classic Edition. I think Nintendo has done a much better job this time around with inventory. Seems to be a lot less of an issue. Seeing prices on eBay already coming down for resellers, so that's a good thing to have out there. I do wish the controller had a longer cord on it. Having this shorter cord, while still longer than the NES Classic Edition, still is too short in my opinion. Now, I've got my SNES Classic sitting over there on the shelf. I'm back here on the couch. I used 2 of my extension cables to get back here, and that's how I was able to use it. Popular accessory maker 8-Bit Do, they have got their 8-Bit Do SNES 30 gamepad and NES 30 gamepads. These have the ABXY buttons, they have the shoulder buttons, and they use what they call the retro receiver that'll plug right into the system. Right now, however, the firmware for this dongle is not compatible with the SNES Classic. So you can't use these with this system. yet. They have announced that there is a firmware update coming out for this that you can do that. 8BitDo has also announced that they have a new version of the Super NES 30 gamepad that will allow you to work right with the SNES Classic Edition. They're 25 bucks. I'm sure that you can go to places like CastlemaniaGames.com and you'll be able to pre-order those soon. One difference on those versus these is those are a 2.4 gigahertz controller versus this works off of Bluetooth, so it is a little bit different there. It is cheaper than these are less expensive, shall we say. Don't know if they're cheaper, but by not using Bluetooth, you don't have to pay for, you know, that access basically, or the, it's like using HDMI. You actually have to pay for the right to use HDMI. It's like a licensing fee. The SNES Classic, I mean, it's outstanding. I absolutely love it. I'm geeked out, and I can't wait to play more today. We're going to be doing more videos on each and every one of the games that we have that came with the system to kind of give you a brief overview, and we'll kind of rate them and review those games too. Really, overall, thrilled, pleased, ecstatic, any way you want to put it. This is a really cool system. I'm glad that I've got one in my collection. Now, if you do have any comments or question about the Super NES Classic Edition or anything consumer electronics in general, please feel free to leave a comment down below. We answer each and every one of them. You can also email us at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter at RockSolidStudios. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions. And then we do want to thank our supporters here up on the channel, CastlemaniaGames.com. Use promo code ROX10 to save 10% off on your next order. Thanks to those guys for helping support the channel too. You can also help support the channel through Patreon. Go to patreon.com/rocksolid, just like Eric Jordan has done, and for as little as $1 a month, you can help support the channel and provide a way for us to do cool things like get SNES Classic Editions to do reviews and unboxings on, to test out controller compatibility with systems like this, to subscribe to different services to see how they match up to other options that are out there and see if you should buy or subscribe something. So check us out on Patreon. You can really help shape the future of Rock Solid Productions. So again, I am Gary. This is Rock Solid Productions. This is the SNES Classic Edition. I'll see you some other time because I got games to play. I'll see you later.